Hello, macroeconomics students. We are now in week 2, and this week you're going to have another forum discussion, continue to work in the MyEcon lab. Again, what I'm looking for there is for you to complete the work. Again, I would encourage you really to start early in the week to start this, so that way you're not having your whole weekend to do this. Pace it out through the week, so jump in there maybe in the evenings once in a while and look at some of the exercises and, complete it on a pace that you're comfortable with. So this week we're going to look at some basics of supply and demand in Chapter 3. You're going to distinguish, the difference between a change in demand and a change in quantity demanded. I basically think of a change in quantity demanded as a movement along the demand curve. It deals specifically with price. And a change in demand is a factor other than price. It's something that shifts the demand curve out or in. So some of those shift factors can be if Oprah says you need to go out and buy this new book, all of a sudden, the demand curve shifts out to the right, the price is higher, and more people want to read that book. So, or it could be something as a tax that's imposed. If a tax is imposed on a consumer on a particular good, that can shift that demand curve in. And as a result, the price would go down and less would be consumed in the market. And you'll also look at supply in that chapter. Same rules apply. And if it's a change in quantity supplied, it's simply a movement in price, a movement along that curve. If it's a change in supply, it's some other factor than price. And that could be, that it's a banner year for soybeans. And all of a sudden there's soybeans everywhere in the market. And that's going to push the price down the market. There's going to be more soybeans available. But if a drought comes along, wrecks all the soybean crops, the supply curve is going to shift in. As a result, price is going to get expensive for soybeans, and there's just going to be less soybeans in the market. So, Chapter 5 and 6, we start to get to a little bit more macroeconomic topics. The first one dealing with, how does the government correct when there's externalities in the market? And in particular, we like to look at the negative externalities. An externality is something that you do that impacts another person. It can be as simple as if you have a house and if you never paint it, you never cut the grass, you leave crap all over in the yard, your neighbors hate you. And although they have done nothing, they're going to feel the impact because their house value is going to go down. So it's a negative externality that you have created for your neighbors. Well, common negative externalities in the world or in the United States can be examples of pollution, or it can be that just a market failure doesn't work right, that there is a market failure, that something isn't working right in the market. So it's often the government's role to step in and try to correct the negative externality. Sometimes this correction can be in a form of a tax, and as they show in the textbook, a tax can actually change supply or demand curves depending on who's it's imposed on. So if that's one of we talked about last week in the video about behavioral economics, well, maybe sometimes I try to influence behavior or nudge someone. It might be through a form of a tax. In fact, some places are deciding to, I think it was in New York, they may be taxing soda more, or there's certain goods that considered sin goods that we tax more to try to discourage consumption. So, but you'll read a lot about that and how we kind of deal with those things in markets. And sometimes it can be a lack of not providing enough of something. It could be public education. And maybe need to get more subsidies for loans so students can go to college. So maybe there's not quite the desired level of outcome of education in the United States. So I'm going to step in and try to increase that in order to increase what I consider to be something good in society. Okay, last chapter, kind of everybody's dealing with this right now. It goes over kind of an overview of the U.S. tax system. We do have a progressive tax system in the United States. That is, that the more money I make, the higher the rate that I would charge progressively. It kind of does it in increments. Somebody talks about their marginal tax rate. And a lot of us might be doing things now to kind of scrounge to maybe putting more money in an IRA or trying to figure out ways to lower our tax liability right now. So a lot of this chapter discusses a little bit about the tax theory and what is maybe the ideal tax level, what are fair taxes, and just how we allocate our taxes. We definitely get money from individuals, from corporations, from sales taxes, and the choice of how we spend those taxes too. What's the best allocation of spending those money? What is the best thing for society? So you'll read about that. So again, use the PowerPoints for a helpful resource tool, but read these chapters or whatever similar chapters you have, decided what textbook you had. Make sure to jump into that My Econ Lab, get that stuff done. So just stay on a good pace and you'll be okay for the course. But otherwise, have a great week, and I will talk to you online. Take care.